I'd like to start by expressing that, although this incident happened 3 years ago, it still makes me nervous. I attended this summer camp with my classmates when I was around 11 years old. To be honest, it was a lot of fun at first. We had a lot of fun until one night when we started hearing footsteps around the shelter where my buddies and I were sleeping. It woke me up, but I was too scared to get out of bed and check who was outside, so I simply stayed in bed, listening to the footsteps around the shelter. When I couldn't hear the footsteps anymore, I decided to go outside, but when I did, I noticed someone, whom I presumed to be a guy, standing just in front of our shelter. I was terrified. I woke up all of my friends, but when I went to show them the individual, he was gone the following day. I had completely forgotten about the occasion. My companions and I were accompanying a group of rangers who brought us into the wilderness, where we had the opportunity to go about on our own as long as we returned by 1,500 hours. We walked into the woods hoping to see a lot of animals or fascinating views, but all we saw was a guy. The guy motioned for us to approach him. I didn't believe him for a second, but one of my friends stated that it would be impolite to ignore him and not walk over. Perhaps he was in need of something. I told him he could go, but I was leaving. I was going to return to the rangers and tell them everything, but it was too late since my pals and I were debating whether or not we should go to the guy. The guy undoubtedly realized we didn't trust him and began to approach us. I'll never forget his strange, big grin as he talked. "Hello, guys. I want to have some fun right now." "No thanks, my friends, and I have to return to the rangers," I said. Thankfully, the guy said okay and let us leave. That surprised me a little, but you didn't hear me complain about it. That night, I awoke to the sound of footsteps once again. This time, I made sure to wake up all of my buddies before going outdoors to check what was going on. When they were all up, I decided to investigate who had woken me up twice in a row. The person reappeared, and this time I could see his face. It was the same guy we had seen earlier that day. How did he figure out where we were staying? Excuse my French, but one of my buddies said something like this: "Hey, Pedro, come closer and I'll stab the living crap out of you." I'm not kidding. When I turned around, I noticed him brandishing a large knife. That may have been our saving grace, since when that guy spotted my friend's knife, he instantly booked it. We went to the rangers the following day to report the guy. We never heard anything further about him. The unpleasant event has stayed with me since I'll never know what he wanted with us kids.